Good morning, and welcome to the educational programs about Zoroastrianism. I am Nazanin Iranzamini, and I am here today with Mobed Kamran Jamshidi. Good morning.
Good morning, Nazanin. I am so glad to be here. My name is Mobed Kamran Jamshidi, and I'm a Zoroastrian Mobed. So I'm glad to be here, and I hope that I can help you with your questions.
Before I begin, is there anything you would like to share with us?
Yes, thank you, dear. Let me thank you and California Zoroastrian Center to provide me and us this opportunity to have a good, a constructive and sincere talk about Zarathustra, Shu Zarathustra, about Zoroastrianism, or what I call it, or it is called as Mazda Yasna, which literally means celebration of the intelligence in life, of consciousness. I'm going to talk about these things very elaborately and more in detail later. And in the beginning, let me make something very clear for you and everybody else who listen to this. And that is that everything I say today is naturally my understanding, my interpretation, my perception of everything. And I probably also confess that from the first days that I started to more seriously search and seek for the truth, for the big truth, and for the truth of our own religion. My perception has gone through some changes, and I have always been open to accept the fact and the realities whenever and wherever I encounter them. So, this being said, I am ready to try to answer to your questions.
To begin with, could you please give us a summary of Zarathustra's teachings?
Okay, let me begin by saying that I believe that Zarathustra is the most misunderstood, misinterpreted, and even misquoted prophet, teacher, or guru, whatever you want to call him, that the world has seen. His teachings, the gathas or the mantra, has over 50 translations maybe, and not two of them are exactly the same. He being misunderstood has some reasons. I try to point out here some of them. The one is that the Gatha, and actually in the whole Avesta and the whole, you could say, ancient Persian culture, there are always two different layers, two different dimensions presented. One is the higher dimension of the truth of intelligence in the creation, in the existence, and also the transcendental unity in everything. And the other dimension, I call it maybe the lower dimension, and it's about the human intellect or mind and the duality, or better saying the plurality of this life, this manifested life we live in. Zarathustra has obviously experienced this higher dimension. He tells us clearly that he has become enlightened. He actually uses the word light, suhra, the light of Wahumana. And he says, when the light of Wahumana filled me up, then I knew. One can only imagine how difficult it would have been for him to tell about his experience of the higher dimension for people around him that they could understand. Even today, after so many thousand years, it's not easy for someone to understand, maybe intellectually, a spiritual experience if one has not gone the same way. And he knows that the mundane life, among all dualities and polarities, is a life full of struggle and full of questions about how to survive the dangers, the fears, the plagues and the ailments of the world. Then he answers questions by expounding about how and what life is, about the different possibilities in life, not just two, different possibilities. And the more important, make it clear for people that they always have the freedom to choose what they want to believe and how they want to live. And for every person, for him or herself. And that is a responsibility, actually. Whatever the choices, the consequences will be accordingly. The second reason for Zarathustra being a little misunderstood, I believe, is that he lived a very, very long time ago, 1,000 years ago. And the language he talked in, which the gathas are also written in that language, is very ancient. It means that to literally understand the inherent meanings of those songs has been and still is a challenge. Then we can imagine that during the long period of time and all that have happened historically have also had their impacts on the Zoroastrianism and Zoroastrian society, even including the development of the Zoroastrian clergy's interpretation and understanding of the message. And last but not the least is the appearance of other religions and belief systems, particularly the Abrahamic religions and their impacts on the Mazdayasana. And I always believe that the best way to try to understand the message is to do what Zarathustra did, is to go the same way, to could somehow experience what Zarathustra did experience, to touch somehow the truth. Then you could know. So, having all this in mind, I could compact the whole message, if it's possible, in just some words like this. The message is about the truth and the realities, how to understand them, and how to live a good and constructive life for oneself, the immediate society, and the larger society, with the whole world as the largest one. And it is not only about human beings, which are just a part of the whole living world. we are all the creations. We are all connected together. And just to could see this invisible connection, this is what we call Da'ana or Din. Then Da'ana means insight, means inner eye, perception. And all that shows us the unity, the oneness of the whole world. Mazda Yasna is pro-life, is life-oriented. It's about how to go through the life with a good mind, in balance and in harmony and good coexistence with others and other life manifestations, which begins with the inner harmony and the inner integration inside us, which then leads us to be pleasant, to feel bliss, ushta we call it, and do everything possible to make this life on earth as pleasant and as heavenly as possible, which we call heaven on earth. And this could be done by understanding the nature of life and the intelligence in it and behind it. In Mazda Yasna, we call the life and its source, the source of life, we call it Ahura, and the intelligence in it, we call it Mazda. Thus, Mazda Yasna.